Hi everybody, good afternoon. My name's Alex Tennant. I'm actually producing a short extract in the form of this video on YouTube promoting my work as an author. Okay, I thought it would be great for me to read something from my actual book, which is currently available. I'll give you the details in a little while. I just want to give you a taster of it so you get an idea what it's about. Alright, it's an interesting piece of work. It's written in a diary format in the future, over 10-11 years down the line in England. It's about a journey of a guy who basically feels trapped by basically convention and by all the restraints of daily life, and this guy wants to in essence break away from that and live life on the edge. So I'll read you a little bit about the actual synopsis of it, so you get a summary of what it's about. Then I'll read you an extract, okay, which I hope you will enjoy, and then direct you to a website, alright, so you can have a look at that and maybe buy the book if you feel so sort of guided and you know, willing to do so. Alright, okay, right, let's get cracking. Now, the author's synopsis. Okay, this account is written on a weekly or daily basis. Over 6 months, resulting in the writer casting off the shackles of convention, which seem to strangle and humiliate him. It is also an intense psychological study into the mind of the journal writer as he struggles to reconcile the two conflicting sides of his personality, with one side of his personality revealing itself as totally libertine and amoral, without conscience, the other a compliant self, desperate for social approval, a slave to convention, which he embraces due to the banal drabness of his neat, safe, suburban, sterile life. Also, issues are raised here are themes relating to attitudes towards sexuality, especially what it means to be a male, breaking free from the strong conditioning of society, where the tyranny of uniformity is set against the right to become one's own unique, independent, free-thinking self. There is also involvement in black magic and how that affects the journal author, his dalliance with the forces of darkness, and his justification for embracing their seductive solutions are explored here in great detail. With the author struggling to come to terms with the world whom he feels has abandoned him as a failure of the capitalist market economic system. By living amongst a disparate band of social deviants and outcasts, he was able to give free rein to his fantasies. This resulted in him exploring liberating emotions which, until he joined of his own free will this band of brothers of pleasure, he had no alternative but to suppress, so as not to earn the contempt of society itself. The amoral nonconformist philosophy of his fellow lovers of depravity sustains him through many anarchic adventures provocatively portrayed within the pages of his journal. As the journal unfolds, these inner conflicts acted out on these pages reach a devastating pre-climax, as neither side of his personality is triumphant in asserting its moral right to live its life the way it wants to. So he conventionality-wise conforms to the frantic desires of contemporary society, yet at the same time finding new ways to justify his own right to pleasure and pain, until he reaches that state of consciousness acceptance where he surrenders to his shadow side, which is full of darkness, intent on pacifying the raging fire within, and abandoning himself willfully as he sees it to the false promises of the path of shadows and illusion, which he achieved outwardly by leaving home, disappearing and resigning from conventional safe society, where there was status, material comfort and certainty, and instead trading that lifestyle by joining a band of libertine brothers dedicated to the pursuit of pleasure, no matter the cost of the self or the form it took. The unusual names I have assigned to each character in the journal are due to the nature of the anarchic, anti-materialistic nature of the personalities belonging to the Brotherhood, who have volunteered to choose this alternative lifestyle, By adopting these names, the author's new family have abandoned their old familiar lives for a life of uncertainty and danger, living on the outer edge of respectability. Now, as this is in part scenes of or portrayed, there are scenes of a sexual nature within it. It's actually adult-rated material, some of it, but it's really funny in parts, and it's a real hoot to read, you know. So there's lots of innuendo, slapstick humour. You know, it's quite dark humour, really. So what I'm going to do to you, ladies and gents, I'm going to now scroll down and basically read an extract from this book of mine, so you can get a taster of it, and then decide for yourselves if it grabs you to give it a crack and just check out what it's about. Okay. So I'm just going at random actually in my actual text now, just to see what I can do, what parts I can basically tempt you with. Okay, there's quite a lot here. All right. Okay, let's go. Right. Level crossing. This one's called. Okay, this is set in 2022, when essentially our hero has had a complete breakdown of his personality, and he's now left his old life, and he's living with this group of libertine individuals who have basically thrown off all the old conventions. So these outcasts are living together, okay, in a basement in a run-down building in a suburb of London. Okay, so that sets the scene. Right, let's crack on. Right, this heading is called Level Crossing. The lights changed to red at the level crossing. We stopped close to base, itching to get back home. The road, normally busy during the week, was deserted, except for one man who was standing next to the level crossing. He looked well dressed, tall, athletically built, dark complexion but handsome. Then before the lights changed, the city clothes horse then spun round and flashed a contemptuous scowl in our direction. The guy saw us, and the two of us, Rasputin and myself, stared at him in disbelief. As he slowly walked away towards the Anchor and Sail pub, I heard my brother shout out, "You fucking arrogant knobhead! Too good for you, are we?" Right, so the guy still walked on, oblivious to Rasputin's comments. Rasputin muttered under his breath, "I want to fucking belt some respect into that guy's brain, stuck-up prick." I agree that the smartly dressed dude was a stuck-up ponce. He needed to be taught a lesson in manners, and both myself and Rasputin were going to be the instruments to make sure that happened. The plan of action was to follow the jerk into the King William pub and horsewhip him as a punishment. As it so happened, Rasputin had taken with him a whip from his days as a horse show jump competitor, which was stored close by for use. Neither of us were happy at the desultory treatment we received from this superior being. We had time to spare, as we were not needed for any operational work that required us to be back at base. I noticed that the guy had only just gone into the smart gleaming brick-fronted public house. I quickly spotted that there was adequate car parking at the front of the building. Very soon we had turned into the car park, which, fortunate for us, was virtually deserted of cars. "Come on, let's go teach this guy a lesson and thrash the bastard till he begs for mercy. Come on, Mercury, you dozy sod, let's go and spill some blood." We both climbed out of the 4x4, ready to teach this pumped-up puffball with a superior attitude. We entered the building to the sounds of a blaring jukebox. There were a couple of seedy-looking rhinos slurping noisily from beer bottles, mumbling incoherently. Some dudes were playing billiards at the opposite end of the salon. The two rough diamonds glared back at us, and we both could feel waves of hostility radiating out from them to us. We had our whips in both our hands, as Rasputin had a spare whip, which he gave to me, and my fingers were becoming itchy. The athletic-looking guy strutted only towards us. As he came towards us, I noticed a reflection in the huge brass-gilded mirror, the reflection of the stuck-up tool, where I could just catch a momentary glimpse of his face, and it appeared to be set into a mask-like state of terror. The guy was trapped. There was no visible means of escape except past us. I could hear angry sighs intermingled with growls emanating from Rasputin. The diminutive figure of the little toady pub manager came into view. We both glared angrily at him. "We have unfinished business with one of your customers. Get in the way and your mincemeat. Understand, manager guy? And that applies to your staff." Without warning, thundered out from my bro, the fat toad scuttled back to the safety of the bar. Within seconds, we heard a commotion to the side of us. It was the stuck-up dude in the act of throwing a glass plus bottle right at us. "Raz, look out to the side of you, man. The guy's throwing a..." Before I could finish what I said, the bottle had missed Raz by a hair's whisker plus glass. Rasputin spun round in a fury. "Thought you could get one step ahead of me, eh? You dirty dog. I'll show you who can cause more pain." With that, Raz let rip with his whip. The stuck-up fart was unable to dive out of the way in time. The whip caught him full in the face. Howling in pain, the guy fell back onto the floor. We both raced up to where he was. Then I, Mercury, messenger of the gods, reaped my just revenge. Taking it in turns, we mercilessly whipped the creature over every part of his body. He writhed and moaned as we continued our beating. There was a death-like silence in the pub as the other customers watched with shocked and awed looks on their faces the whole time we were administering our punishment. After what seemed like an age, the man's body, now a mass of bloody pulp, lay still. Good. He had learned his lesson well, not to piss guys like us off. I looked over to Raz, noticing that he was breathing heavily and sweating. I suddenly felt sick. How could this be? The full enormity started to dawn on a part of mind that I honestly thought no longer existed. Something inside myself was beginning to feel a tingle of revulsion. I looked down at the masked form of the man who had insulted us. He never looked at us when he passed us by in the street. So why in Christ's name have we flogged the guy literally to death? Before I could dwell further on what had just happened, Rasputin jerked me back to reality by tapping my chest. "Hello, is anybody at home inside that body? Sorry, Raz, I was light years away. I've come back now. Do you want me to do anything? Or should we just take off and go?" "What the hell's the matter with you? Snap out of it, Merc, and get with the action fast. Look, we're leaving right now. You get me? So sharpen up and let's go from this crap joint." I followed Raz out, but just in case they decided to try anything, I whipped out my pistol and waved it in front of the terrified faces of the remaining members. They quickly backed out of our way. Before leaving, I turned round to the shaking toad manager and wagging my finger out at him, said as a parting shot, "Next time, dude, next time you'll be mashed potato, just like our sweetie pie friend. Do we understand each other?" Raz just had to say his party piece. "Any of you fancy following us and you'll become extinct like the dinosaurs, you copy?" With much shaking of heads from the remaining pub clientele, plus manager and staff, we strolled out the door and once in the wagon took off in the direction of base. I was thinking that maybe the guy we roughed up was now dead, as his body lay motionless when we had actually finished working him over. I soon had him out of my mind as an irrelevance, as my current fantasy on my mind now was clamping my teeth around the succulent tits of Lady Godiva. What a piece of prime meat to be dominated by. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm going to shoot down and see if I can get another juicy piece of this journal for you to get to basically listen and feast your ears on and ears especially, specifically. Right. Now, just bear with us, okay. I'm just scrolling down to see if I can just get you another extract. Let's see where we're going. I'm just scrolling down, I'm just doing what I'm doing. Just a moment, please. Let's see. That will go up a bit. let's see where we're up to. Right, ladies and gents, just bear with me. Okay, I'm just doing this as fast as I can, just to give you another taster. Communication meltdown, now that sounds cool. Let's get our little teeth into that, eh? Whoa, let's see where we're up to. Right, okay. Now, I'm going to attend a workshop on improving my communication skills. How wacky is that? The Prince of Darkness has ordered me to go to a high-powered workshop and impress the other participants with my newfound skills in that department. Faceache and Lady Godiva have agreed to accompany me for moral support. Lady Godiva said to me, listen, I'm going to flash those sex-repressed eunuchs a bit of tit, just to hot up the proceedings. What say you to that, sugar lady? I roar with laughter, whilst Faceache thrust his tongue out, making suggestive movements, saying, lick arse and sweaty armpits. That should get them buzzing. Lady Godiva again lets rip another line of unforgettable wisdom from her lips. Listen, sugar sweets, our mouths are made for sucking, things which are long and hard. The others are bound to communicate when we do that. I doubled over with laughter at both their mind-shaking comments, wondering what jewels of wisdom will fall from their mouths next. Let the show begin. Within minutes, I and my brother delegates were bundled into the back of a four-wheel drive belonging to the Brotherhood and driven at high speed to our venue. Nobody could see us from the road, as the car windows were all blacked out. It felt like an eternity getting to the venue. I could see that my travelling companions were excited and yet fazed by the challenge ahead. I was lost in my own thoughts, wondering exactly what was ahead later that day. But I felt confident and calm that all three of us would make our mark and create a sufficient splash to become noticed. I looked at Lady Godiva, and Christ, she looked a stunner. She was a luscious she-mountain of a woman. Any guy's wet dream, if you like that kind of thing. Butch Lady Godiva, all dressed up in a silk bodysuit, with her two bosoms swelling up seductively underneath the bodysuit, just desperate to break loose. They looked so delicious, made for licking, wow. Then my mind spell was broken, and I was forced to look outside the window, because if I hadn't, I would have exploded white juice all over my lycra shorts. I could make out, through the blacked-out glass, vague, wispy shapes of people and cars, as both jostled for supremacy of the highway. Then I saw what looked like a park or something, with actual trees and fields. We can't be fucking going to some nature hike, I shouted out as loud as I could. They're taking the piss. What are you going on about? Come on, bro. Let's just get into the experience, growled Faceache. He rounded on me, reminding me not to get involved in any petty power politics, and to ensure that I looked the part of a road crusader. I'm going to slash your fucking face with my blade so you look more savage than you are, baby bro. I just looked at Faceache when he said that and smiled. Faceache did exactly what he promised. I could feel the cold caress of the blade as it ploughed relentlessly down my left cheek. Like a farmer's plough, it made a little trench on my face. I felt ecstatic with joy at being marked this way. I begged him to mark my other cheek the same way. Then my chin. Perfect. I was ready to attend the communication seminar. I spoke to Lady Godiva, and she said she wanted to rarely make an impact on those zombies in suits, was the way she put it. So we had a temporary detour while she went into a local hardware store to get a can of liquid paraffin and a box of matches. She was going to set herself ablaze as a human torch. It was going to be a spectacle the participants would never ever forget. Okay, ladies and gents, I could go on further with that amazing reading, but I'm going to leave it there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I've been going on for quite a long time. Okay, so get your fingers onto the buttons of your computer keyboards and go on to essentially let's say go on to smashwords.com. Okay, and the name of the title of the book is The Secret Journal of a Psychotic Maniac. It's going for $3.99. Alright, it's a damn good read. I've only given you a tiny little taster. I hope that's whet your appetite, and the temptation will make some of you, maybe not all of you, actually go to the website and perhaps consider buying the book. Okay, I am available on other websites as well, so you just have to check those out as you go. Diesel's one of them. All right, okay, and I'm trying to think what the other one is. It's Barnes and Noble. Okay, that's another one. All right, and Sunny. Okay, so I'll do, I guess, another session. Okay. And another video, that a bit shorter than this one. All right, okay. Thank you very much for watching this trial sort of run of this of me reading the various extracts from my ebook. Okay. All right. Okay. Cheers now. All the best.